Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I'm George. We're all George. So, good morning. Today, we got to talk about this big CPI inflation report that just came out and why we need to prepare for a huge Bitcoin breakout. That's right. Let's talk about this and everything else that's going on in the world today. Let's do it. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's looking a lot better than last night. I don't know about a lot better, but we're definitely better and going in the right direction. And a lot of alts are doing fantastic today. I just noticed right here, stacks up 10% today, near up 7% today. We're having a pretty good day so far. Okay, and Bitcoin is looking like it wants to break 59,000 and head right to 60,000 today. And that's all due to this big CPI report, right? First of all, the U.S. market opened. We're looking, this hasn't updated yet, but anyways, this is what caused everything, okay? CPI inflation report for last month for June shows inflation again what's going down. So CPI is now at a 3% year-over-year change, and if you discount food and energy, we're down to 3.3%. So that's a 0.1% drop from May on both sides, okay? Actually, if you look at, no, actually, I take that back, only one side. So less food and energy went down from 3.4 to 3.3, but if you look at overall CPI, went down from a staggering 3.3 to 3. Okay, now last night I was predicting that we may get something even crazier and go to like 2.9%, but 3% is a pretty big deal. That's a 0.3% drop. That's a 10% drop when it comes to inflation. At least that's what this report says. Okay, now, do we really see a 10% drop in consumer goods within 1 month? Did we see a 10% drop from May to June? No, no one saw that. So I don't know how they're actually getting the numbers, but they are. So this is pretty darn good. And that is why now the percentage of a rate cut for this month has upped itself from 4%, less than 4%, it's like 3.8% now to about 9%. Still, it looks like we haven't had not enough ammunition to give Powell the okay to cut this month. But we do have another PPI inflation report that's tomorrow. And we still have a lot of other economic data that's coming between now and July 31st. So maybe he gets a little bit more ammunition to say, okay, we can do the very first rate cut this month and not have to wait until September. But right now, September is still looking like it's going to happen. 81% chance it's going to happen in September. Okay. But overall, this is pretty good. This is what the market, this is what Wall Street wants to see. Rate cuts traditionally means that markets blow up in a good way, blows up upwards, right? And usually that happens during a presidential election year. I mean, which, to be honest, if you look at the stock market, it actually has been blowing up already, right? But they want to blow up even more. So it's going to happen. It's definitely going to happen, right? So that's the big news out of today. But, you know, I take that back. It's not really the only big news. Something else that's pretty big is Microstrategy. Now, I mean, their stock is getting pretty expensive, like almost $1,400, right? So for a lot of people, unlike crypto, where you could buy fractional, you know, like fractional Bitcoin or fractional ETH or fractional whatever, or SOL, you can't do that with stocks. Well, you can. Some brokers allow you to buy fractional stock, but still, it's weird, right? It's just better to do a stock split. And generally speaking, when there's a stock split, it means there's a lot of interest, a lot of volume, and generally speaking, companies that do announce stock split, they generally go upward. So MicroStrategy is announcing a 10-for-1 stock split, and today, look at that, they're up 8% above 1,400, getting back to their previous all-time high. You know, that's actually a good poll question. Let me create one here. Which one would you buy at this point?
What do you think about
like
Ripple?
polls?
Well, I mean, I think it's too
well,
centralized, but I definitely want to meet Chris.
I don't know why every time that commercial comes up. Anyways, so that's also big news. Overall, guys, this is what I've been saying. You got to stay strong, focus on the future. Do not sweat over the little volatility that we may get here or there or anywhere in between, okay? Bitcoin, crypto, all the companies that are related are going to recover and make new highs later this year. There is no doubt about it, okay? And we have catalysts along the way that will help us get there too. I think lower inflation, a rate cut, that will definitely help. But we don't need it, but they just help accelerate things. So I think the very first rate cut is going to be a big deal. But Microstrategy, I mean, this kind of shows you the Bitcoin strategy works. Now it's up 9%. Bitcoin strategy works. Wall Street loves MicroStrategy now. Just a few years ago in the bear market, 2022, 2023, they were the laughing stock. Everyone was pointing at Michael Saylor and looking at him being a case study for how stupidity is. How stupidity is and why companies should not follow his bullishness. And look at it now. He's seen as an absolute genius, okay? And people can't get enough of MicroStrategy stock or Michael Saylor himself, right? This is what you have to do. You got to focus long-term, continue DCA. You buy when there's blood in the streets. You buy even when others are laughing at you. Because you know, deep down, this is the right move, right? Now, as for the German government, they're still selling. They sold another like 200 million since last night. It's fine. At this point, they could sell, and it's not affecting the price, and it's better this way. Let's just rip off the Band-Aid. Let's just have them sell everything and then be done. They're getting pretty close. They're getting pretty close. So just, if you're looking at this, they said another like 300 to Coinbase, 500 Bitstamp, 200 to Kraken, 500 to some unknown exchange. I think I know what that unknown exchange is. I think I know exactly where that is, okay? And that is, this. And that is Binance. Here's something shocking that not a whole lot of people paid attention to. Binance, their reserves went up by 41,000 Bitcoin. Okay? 41,000 Bitcoin just within a month. You know, where did that come from? Where did all that Bitcoin come from, right? Well, maybe it went straight from Germany's wallet to Binance, because that's a whole lot of Bitcoin that they now hold, but they're not selling. They're just holding it. They're kind of like BlackRock, like Larry Fink, whoever's in charge of Binance now is like, why will we sell the valuable asset that we have? That's Bitcoin. So they took in a lot, but they're not selling it. So this may be one of the reasons why now, you know, Bitcoin is so steady, has found a bottom and is coming up, because no matter how much Germany dumps, or maybe how much Mount Gox creditors are dumping, they're not, they're not selling. Binance is just keeping it all. That's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. But besides Binance, I got a little ahead of myself. I showed this slide already. But as for ETF inflows, still massive. 147 million was the total for yesterday. BlackRock didn't go so crazy yesterday, but they still had a $22 million inflow. Fidelity had 58 million, and others had 31, 20, 10, 6, 3. In total, another 147 million inflow day. You look at this week, it's been absolutely fantastic. $750 million inflow, right? You add that up with what Binance took in, again, that's phenomenal. Phenomenal numbers, phenomenal intake. That's good. Very, very good. right? And this is why I'm so confident that Bitcoin will recover. And not only that, get back to its previous high and break through it. Now, in case you're wondering about BlackRock and Larry Fink and IBIT, this is what it looks like. Okay, they've just been accumulating. They have not really been selling. There's only like one time, I think, in here. One time where they had actually an outflow, and then Larry Fink said, enough is enough. We're never going to sell again. Because despite having pretty bad months, you could argue, from April to May to June to July now, right? You don't see that curve go downwards, not like the others. It just continues to go up, up and up and up and up and up some more. Larry Fink knows you don't sell the most valuable asset we have, right? He's doing whatever he can to just only have inflows, which is actually crazy if you think about it, because ETFs are not supposed to operate that way. Obviously, you have a lot of people selling the shares, right? It's supposed to balance out. There's a ratio of how much Bitcoin they're supposed to hold versus how many shares that are out in the open. But BlackRock somehow just they're buying themselves or putting their IBIT into other funds. They're doing what they can, and basically it's nothing but inflows. There's no outflows. Something to pay attention to. Okay, I'm not saying that's a good thing long run. Long run's horrible. Long run, we don't want IBIT and BlackRock to hold 10% of the circulating supply or 20% of circulating supply. That's horrible. But the way they're going, that's what's happening. And especially with these volatile periods, when retail investors are getting shook out of the market and selling, well, guess what happens? It goes straight into the whale's hands, right? So unfortunately, that's not a good thing. But in the meantime, it's okay. All right. Now, outside of BlackRock and the markets, there's a new index called the Crypto Speculation Index. And this is interesting. This measures altcoin performance versus Bitcoin. And when very little altcoins outperform Bitcoin, then that's usually a sign of capitulation, a sign of a bottom, and when things turn around, right? And we are at that point right now. If you look at, I'm going to remove the camera, you look at the very right-hand side, we have fallen to a point where very, very, very little alts are outperforming Bitcoin, just at 7%. And the last time this happened was right during 2023 when we bottomed out around that, 16, 17, 18, 20,000 mark, right? We're seeing the same thing. A lot of capitulation with alts because people do not like their performance and are selling them, right? But what this is showing is kind of like the crypto greed and fear index. When fear is extremely high, or in this case, speculation is extremely low, that's usually a good sign of a turnaround, of a bottom, right? You can make that argument. Just like if you look at what happened in 2020 and 2021, we have seen periods like that before. But this is a pretty good indicator that, hey, a bottom is here and we're going to go higher, right? All right. This is also interesting. Only 0.26% of the global population can own one Bitcoin. And we're nowhere close to that. Okay. So that's why if you are a whole coiner, which is a really, really amazing goal, if you think about it, there are literally no one on the planet that could really take out $58,000 to buy a whole Bitcoin from their savings, right? I know there are millionaires and billionaires that can do it, but in terms of just general people that are working, average Joes that are working 9 to 5, almost no one can do that. Just take out $58,000 and buy a single Bitcoin. But it's much easier now than later when Bitcoin is at 100,000 or 200,000 or $1 million, right? So it's still achievable through DCAing to get one whole Bitcoin. And the reason why it's such a good goal to have is because just look at it. Only 0.26% of the global population can own one Bitcoin. But that's actually not even possible because You already have BlackRock that owns a huge percentage of it. Microstrategy that owns a huge percentage of it. The ETFs around the world own a huge percentage of it. And that doesn't include Satoshi himself and all the lost Bitcoin. That's anywhere from like 5 to 7 million or maybe even higher. So it's impossible. This is just theoretical, right? Actually, the global population in terms of how much that they could own is a lot less because there's not that much to go around. So much of it has been removed from supply already. So this is actually not even possible. It actually really isn't, right? So for those of you guys that have at least one coin already, I mean, you're so ahead of the game. In 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, right? When the whole world actually starts really, truly embracing Bitcoin and everyone is truly fighting for it, that's when it becomes virtually impossible for them to actually get even one or 0.1, okay? Because at that point, even 0.1 Bitcoin will cost what it costs a whole Bitcoin now. Think about it. When Bitcoin hits $500,000, $600,000, which I know it will, not this cycle, next cycle, 0.1 Bitcoin will cost you then $60,000. Just 0.1. But today, with $60,000, you can buy more than one Bitcoin, right? So that's just how it's going to be forever. It's like land. It's like owning a city block or just a small little land in downtown Manhattan, let's say. It's never going to reset. It's never going to go back to zero or cheap. It's only going to go up in price, just like Bitcoin, right? That's why you got to load up when you can, as much as you can, while it's still cheap. All right, here's something else. Elon said Tesla will accept Bitcoin once again if it becomes 50% or if it's using 50% renewable energy. And right now we're at 55%. It's higher than any other industry in the world. Higher than gold, higher than, I don't know, silver, copper, whatever. Bitcoin, using the highest percent of sustainable energy versus anything else out there. That is fantastic. Now, whether Tesla does embrace Bitcoin again, I don't know. Doesn't seem like that's on Elon's minds these days. But anyways, all right, last few things to talk about. Charts, okay? Obviously, I've been talking a lot about the macro stuff. Fundamentals, they're all still fantastic. But if you're looking at charts again, they're fantastic too. Fractal patterns versus previous cycles looks very, very similar. This is comparing again to the 2017 cycle. The way we're moving this cycle is almost identical to the 2017 cycle. And that's a good thing. But what's not identical are the dips. 2017, we had 35, 40% dips all day long. Like, we had so many of them. It was scary. And then Bitcoin was only, it started a year at $1,000. We're not starting a year at, $1,000, but still, we're mimicking it so closely. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. So this is what it's looking like right now versus what happened before. And yes, I do believe that we will break out and we will hit a high way sooner and way quicker than people expect. And that high being also much higher than people expect too. Here's something else that shows this giant cup and handle that we're in. And again, once we break out of it, where are we heading to? $240,000? Yeah. That's not unreasonable. Not unreasonable. Could be even higher. Again, we just don't know at this point. But based on history, based on macro conditions, based on fundamentals, and based on the inflows, okay, Bitcoin is going to go a lot higher later this year and especially next year. 2025 is really the year that is supposed to be bullish. Okay, we're just ahead of the game this time. Cycle, way ahead of the cycle. okay? We were never supposed to break previous highs until like October. If you look at previous cycles, that's how it's always been. October, November is when you usually make a move and break through previous highs. But we did it ahead of time because of the ETFs, right? We're accelerated. So again, by the end of this cycle, we could all be absolutely flabbergasted by the gains. And I truly mean that. And here's another one. Inverse head and shoulders. Yeah, that's exactly what it looks like, right? And if we could break through that neckline support, again, the next stop, who knows? Who knows? Infinite. All right, and then the last two things. I did mention this yesterday. CFTC Chair reiterates that BTC and ETH are commodities. And he also did say 70 to 80%. 70 to 80% of all crypto are commodities, not securities, right? So this is pretty darn good. By the way, the poll that I put up, 1,300 votes, 84% says Bitcoin versus 16% Microstrategy. That's good. I agree with that. But Microstrategy has been killing it. So this is good overall. Maybe after we get a new president, you know, that CFTC will be made the agency to regulate crypto, not the SEC. All right, first of all, Gary Gensler needs to go. And second of all, yeah, maybe CFTC is the agency that should be regulating and safeguarding crypto, not the SEC, because traditionally speaking, they have been very, very uncrypto friendly, right? So we'll see. That's pretty good. And then what is it? The ETH Beacon Contract has 47.36 million ETH in there. Okay, that's good for 34% of the entire supply, more than tripling the 11% it held 2 years ago. And the reason being, and it's been going a lot more, is because of the ETH ETF that'll be coming out. People want to like basically load up and you know, and speculate based on the ETF, and I do think it'll be good. It may actually drop right away, because when Bitcoin ETFs came out, Bitcoin dropped and then it recovered greatly and just kept going. It could be the same way with the ETH ETF. But people are staking it at an alarming rate, which is good. But it's also bad because a lot of liquid staking platforms now hold an enormous amount of ETH. And you never want to see them get too crazy, right? You don't want to see them get above 50%. And that would be bad, really bad. All right. That's pretty much it overall. Let's see, the market's still green. Nasdaq's a little down. What's MicroStrategy? MicroStrategy is still up about 8%. Entire crypto market cap is up about 1.73%. Most alts are up today. So overall, pretty good day. All right, let's do some Q&A. Benito says, worth DCAing to 2x leverage BTC account long term. You know, it's not a bad strategy. I've mentioned this before. 2x is really hard to get liquidated with, but it happens, especially towards the top, right? We have seen that happen before. But at this point in time, like a 2x Bitcoin has to drop to like below 30,000 for you to get liquidated. And at this point, I just don't think that will ever happen. I don't see Bitcoin ever dropping to 30,000 below. So me personally, since I'm a degen, all the money that I have and that I'm taking in, basically I just throw them at a 3x or a 4x at a lot of the crypto that I believe in. And that's how I'm playing it. So, you know, before when the market was hot, I would do, you know, my 15, 20, 25 X's. You can't do that right now. Like, you'll get liquidated immediately. There's too much volatility. But the lower forms of leverage, like 3X, 4X, still dangerous. You could still get liquidated pretty easily, but it's a lot safer. And when the market's turning around, it definitely could make a big difference. That's how I'm doing it, but I don't recommend anyone else doing that. Far down below, what is Mt. Gox dumps expected to happen if it does? Like right now. Right now. They've been distributing already. So you figure if it was going to happen, it should be happening already, right? But the reason why probably it's not happening, number one, ETFs are taking in. Number two, you got Binance now just buying a whole lot, right? Are they really buying or people putting into Binance? But if people have been Binance, you figured they would just be selling, right? But the fact that my Binance reserves went up 41,000, I think that's their own personal reserve, and it seems like they're loading up. So they could be taking in all the Mt. Gox creditors' sells. So I don't know. I mean, it's still early. It's only been 2 weeks, right? Maybe you do see more effect of the dumping, but again, that it doesn't mean that everyone that's going to get their Bitcoin back from Mt. Gox is going to dump it. So I don't know. It should be happening already, right? You figure it should be happening already. Charles is asking, sorry for a dumb question. Please explain the CPI cause and effect on crypto. Okay, CPI is just measure inflation. So right now, what everyone wants is Fed Chair Powell in the U.S. to cut the Fed fund rate. When you cut rates, it's good because it allows businesses to borrow money, it allows banks to borrow money at a cheaper rate so that they can hand it out to people, right? And people will take that money and do stuff with it. Either go, expand their business or go, build a new addition on their home or go buy a new car, whatever, right? It gets the money flowing. And because the money is flowing, people tend to take a lot of that money also and invest with it. So there's a lot. That's oversimplification, but that's generally speaking what happens when the Fed fund rate gets cut. Basically, what is the Fed fund rate? It's the percentage rate for banks to borrow from the Federal Reserve. So just know that if rates get cut, it's good. Rates get hiked, it's bad. We've been what, 4 years? We've been in this 4 years where rates have been going up, and then we have stopped at this very high interest rate. But now that inflation is going down, supposedly, even though it may be fake numbers, Chair Powell is going to cut, and we're hoping the first cut will come sooner than later. That's why lower inflation is a good thing for markets, right? For markets. I can't pronounce your name. Abdur Rahman. I apologize if I butchered that. Do I hold Sol? Yes. What's your price target? Very high, 2,000 to 3,000. When can we see you with James in DCA? If he invites me. Rumors of Trump announcing BTC as a reserve assets. I don't think he's gonna go that far. He may. I mean, he's going to be speaking at Bitcoin conference. That was already confirmed. I actually knew that ahead of time. I think this Bitcoin conference is going to be crazy in Nashville. It was anticipated to have 20,000 people. Now that he has announced he's going to talk there, it's probably going to be up to like 25,000, 30,000 people. I'm hoping it goes to the crowded combat fight, but he's there because he's turning really pro-crypto. Whether he believes it or not, you know, maybe. But if he announces something crazy like, yeah, you know, once I become president, I'm gonna make Bitcoin, I don't know, part of our reserves or something like that. Or he announces something crazy where he's gonna start buying Bitcoin or something. I don't know. It's gonna send the market into a frenzy. That could be a huge catalyst too. I think people underestimate that. What market cap is good to get a meme with? Yeah, world idea. I can't answer that. I don't know what meme that is. And there is no set market cap. You know, sometimes you could grab them below 1 million. Sometimes you could grab them below 5 million or 10 million. Sometimes you could grab them even at a billion and they still go up 40x. There's no right or wrong answer to that. Uncle Da. Hello, George. Watching from Hong Kong. I know you don't like Polkadot, but thoughts on it will do previous all-time high. So you're asking if Polkadot will get to the previous high. Based on history, yes, it should. Okay. But this cycle is a little bit different because we have so many projects and so many people are FOMO into memes and other sectors like RWA. I just don't know. Polkadot was at a previous high 53 billion market cap. They're 9. So they have to go up 5x, 6x, 7x. Yeah, 7x. Oof. Based on history, it can happen, okay? Because here's why. Look at where they were before in 2020, right? They were 4 billion market cap. And they still went from 4 billion to 52 billion, 53 billion. So definitely it has happened before. This time around with FOMO, are we going to see the same thing? Quite possibly, because we're double of that, right? From the 4 billion, and it could happen. Now, after it hits the previous high, how much more can it go? That's where I think it could be limited, right? Because there's so many great options now. So many. German government, if you guys are wondering, still holding about 580 million. So they sold off about 200 million yesterday. Sol ecosystem plays before ETF news hits. Raymond asks, the Sol itself, obviously. But the other big one is Jupiter. I'm a big fan of Jupiter. That exchange, or it's the exchange aggregator, but overall, it's super fast. Love the way it works. They're trying to get into RWA. They have like several things going, but it is a super quick, responsive DEX. I love it. So they are also another one. Germany literally losing money every day. I mean, that's why I've talked enough about Germany. I just don't get why now and why they did it the way they did it. If they didn't sell on the open market, had they just done an OTC sell to say Coinbase at a set price of 63,000, let's say, they would take in a lot more money versus what they have been doing, which is just selling bits and pieces on the spot market, which again, doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but that's what they were doing and they're still doing. Oh boy, Costco hikes membership fees for the first time since 2017. What is the new fee? By $5 and $10. So $60 becomes $65, and executive membership goes from $120 to $130. I don't even get what you get with the executive membership. I think longer hours or something. It's like once you have kids and once you're in your 30s and 40s, Costco is like the #1 destination. I think you guys know what I'm talking about. It's like I'm there like every single week, like multiple times in a week. And you cannot get out of Costco without spending $200, unless you're just going there for $1.50 hot dogs. Oh, better percent back? Yeah, I forgot about that. I buy my steaks at Costco. I mean, you can buy a lot of stuff at Costco. The problem with like buying steaks is if you get the sick of the steaks, you're in trouble because you have to buy so much of it. You have to buy like 5 pounds of it at a time, you know? Serious question. How did you make million from just 3 Bitcoins you bought in 2017? Well, obviously I've been adding to it. Like I've been saying, DCA over time. Everything, basically all the income that I had, extra income I had throughout 2017 to 2021 to now, I just put it all into crypto. That's it. That's really it. Like people think I'm exaggerating, but no. I have my entire net worth in crypto. For most people, that's just not, you know, they would say it's not smart, it's not wise, or whatever, but that's the path I chose. And it has worked out. I mean, and some people like, you know, it's not always good. During crypto winter, when you have everything in crypto, it sucks to see it go down like 80, 90%. I'm not going to pretend like that doesn't hurt, but if you truly understand and believe in it, you just continue to DCA along the way. That's what I've been doing throughout all these cycles. Even though I start out with very little, now it's a lot more significant. Sometimes I eat so much steak, Josh, I do get sick of it. Like I get like almost anxiety over it. So I don't know. I eat out so much that I get sick of like all foods. I don't even know what to look forward to anymore. My wife just can't seem to get out of Costco without dropping $300. That's just how it is. Costco, you know, everything's like cheap, but still not cheap. Everything you put in a cart, $20, $50, $30, you know, it's like, it just adds up. 10 things becomes $200, you know? George, are you also exposed to stocks or only crypto? Recently, because I took out like a little bit to let my wife trade Tesla options, but since Tesla started doing really poorly, she stopped using it. So I took that money and I started putting into like Nvidia and Coinbase. I'm gonna put some into Microstrategy now because they're doing a stock split. Got a little Microsoft, but that's it. I just feel like I missed out. I feel bad because I think I missed out, and I'm only playing call options too. I feel like I knew Nvidia was going to do well, but I just didn't put any money into it, so I felt that like I missed out on a lot of gains. But I said no more. I'm going to buy some option calls for next year, and they're doing well because I just see Nvidia has no competition. They're a natural monopoly that no one can compete against. So that's the only reason. That's why, but it's still a very small fraction of my crypto holdings. Do you think we'll see a rate cut before September? Well, it's either this month or next month or September. And right now we need more ammunition. There's only 8.8% chance we're going to get that rate cut this month. It's not impossible. We have more readings, more economic data, and if they're all favorable, then we could see that 8.8 go up. But right now it's still looking like it's September. Try eating Vienna sausage and mustard on a bread. I hate mustard. I can't stand mustard. On a bread for a week that you appreciate going out. Or how about just eating mustard on a bread for a week? Take the sausage out. George, XRP or AVAX, is a 3x realistic? For AVAX it is. XRP, I don't know. XRP has not broken its previous high formed in 2018. I don't even know if they're going to do it this time around. So I'd say AVAX for sure. Yeah, one regret I had was about Nvidia. I knew it was up and coming, just didn't pay a whole lot of attention to it. Then I realized how dominant they were. Still didn't really do anything about it until recently. But it's not too late to get into Nvidia. Nvidia is just going to keep going. It's just, I even have it here. I mean, Nvidia is the only thing that outperformed Bitcoin in the last like 5 years. I mean, at this point right here, I mean, this is a low point, just like Bitcoin. January about 2023 went from $13 to $131, and that's because they split too. Yeah, that's crazy. They're not gonna stop either. Do you like Portillo hot dogs? I mean, I feel like all hot dogs are the same. It's just the condiments that you put on, right? The peppers or whatever. What do you call it? Oh shoot, the relish and all that stuff, right? It's just like how you load it. But the hot dogs themselves, to me, all taste the same. But no one could ever beat the value of a Costco hot dog because it's like double or triple the size of everyone else for 1/3 the price or at 1/4 the price, because most chains charge like $8 or $10 for a hot dog now. So you can't possibly beat the value of a Costco hot dog. I bought a big bag of GME coin. I screwed up, added an extra arrow to the stop. What? Extra zero? Just your thoughts on it? You're talking about GME meme or GME stock? Because it was pretty obvious buying GME meme was not a good idea. That it was not sustainable. And I don't know if it's going to ever come back. You have to try Casper brand hot dogs. It will change your life. A hot dog is a hot dog. I've never had a hot dog where I'm like, oh wow, this is so different and so awesome. Again, it all comes down to the toppings. Yeah. I mean, brats are different. Like when we're just hot dogs. You ain't never seen a $10 hot dog. Have you never been to like a ball game? You never been to a sporting arena? You never been to anywhere that sells really overpriced hot dogs? It's everywhere. Everywhere. Even like, you know, like the local places. I don't even know what's a local place. Even like Portillo's. Portillo's like $7 a hot dog. You get a jumbo hot dog, it's like $10. So I don't know why that's a surprise to you. All right, that means it's time for another poll. Liquid finance partnering with 2 trillion under AUM Apex Group for tokenized gold on Cardano. They already have ADA, ETP in Switzerland and Germany. Okay. It sounds impressive, but where are they at? They're at 372,000 market cap. Are you kidding me? Is that wrong? Yeah, and they only release 1.74% of the supply. There's something really off with the token economics of this. Really, really off. Okay. I guess that was pretty obvious. Hot dog or burger? 86% says burger. Shake Shack burgers are amazing. Shake Shack burgers are no joke. Carl Jr. I don't think I had Carl Jr.'s for a long time. Culver's burgers are pretty good. Jack in the Box, okay. I think Shake Shack is probably the best. I did try In-N-Out burger. It was okay. It was In-N-Out is like, it's more like that. It has that old school, you know, vibe. It was good. It wasn't amazing. I always have to remind you, go to their app, staking, check out details. How about you tell, well, thank you for a super chat. I can't ignore it. But how about you go tell the site to go fix their data on CMC, right? Because 99% of the people will be like me, go to CMC, see that it's a joke, and then leave. Okay, so, I mean, I think projects underestimate how many people use CMC, and they need to get that shit fixed ASAP. What's the details? I mean, it's not that impressive. 26 million value locked is not that impressive for a liquid staking platform. Yeah, and it's going down. since this peak, it's been going down and down and down and down. Yeah. Again, not something that interests me. Five Guy burgers are okay, just very very expensive. I mean, you get a normal burger, it's like, what is it, $15 now or something? I have not eaten at Five Guys for a while, but I know it's super super expensive. Yeah, out of all the fast food places, I do now think Wendy's is the best. I used to think the Whopper was the best fast food burger until I started eating more at Wendy's, and I realized that the Whoppers are extremely dry. They're too dry. Wendy's burgers actually have some fat in them. They're juicier, and they just taste a whole lot better. And McDonald's burgers are trash. So Wendy's is the best out of the fast food for sure. It's not even close. Wendy's is for peasants. Well, you know, it's okay. Still, I enjoy it. Have you tried the glazed out donut burger? No, I have not. McDonald's $5 meal deal is good. Get the McDouble. You know, if I have to eat at McDonald's, I usually eat the McCrispy sandwich, which is decent. But if I just want to go pure meat, I would just buy. I usually buy like 2 or 3 McDoubles and then like stack them together and make like a quad or a 6 patty burger or something like that and just eat the meat. But it's still not very enjoyable. It just sucks. Man, what is going on today? Bitcoin started out really good. Now it's in the red. 57.6. People do not like the CPI reading. Or Germany's dumping more. I don't know. One of the two. What are White Castle burgers like? They're overrated. There was a phase where I was really into White Castle burgers. I think they taste good only because like the oily onions, that grease gets soaked up in the bread. So that's why it tastes good, but I think it's overrated. And it's expensive. Like each burger is like $2 for like 1/4 the size of a normal burger. Cream is a new member. Welcome. Fuddruckers was amazing when it was still around. Now they all closed down, at least the ones around me. This whole chat is just about burgers now. We got 3,500 people tuning in talking about burgers. Every burger should have sauteed mushrooms and onions. I don't agree with the sauteed mushrooms. Onions, yes. Mushrooms, I don't mind them. I'll eat mushrooms. But I don't think every burger should have sauteed mushrooms. Burger King went downhill. I don't know what happened. I used to enjoy Whoppers. Now I do not. I really can't eat Whoppers anymore. Like they do not taste well. The patties are so dry. Yeah, Fuddruckers was so good. That liquid cheese that you like pump out right into your tray, and all the the toppings and stuff was there, and the burgers were decently sized. I don't know why they couldn't make that chain work. I think that's when like Five Guys and others came out, Smash Burger, they all came out and kind of like took over because they're seen as cooler. But Fuddruckers was awesome. It was really awesome. They had ostrich burger and all this like bison burger and stuff. RL's asking, hi George, if you had 58K worth of SOL, would you trade it for Bitcoin? Right now? No, I wouldn't do that. But if you have no Bitcoin, it wouldn't be a bad idea to say like sell some of that, half of it for Bitcoin at least go 50-50 Bitcoin SOL. Because there are times where Bitcoin outperforms SOL. We have seen it many times. So don't think that SOL will continue to outperform Bitcoin forever. I do think by the end of the cycle, it will have a greater upside, but still, you don't want to ignore Bitcoin. Just look at this chart right here, okay? Only 0.26% of global population can own one Bitcoin. It's actually a lot less. It's a lot less than that because this is basing off of a 21 million supply, which we know doesn't exist. McDonald's large fry equal bag of donuts? I don't know about that. Homemade burgers are the best with all the fixings by far. Oh, yeah. If you go to a good burger restaurant, that's basically what it is. It's a homemade burger. They're using real meat, real patties with a good amount of fat in them, and they're putting on a griddle. Or I mean, that's the same thing as if you were doing it at home. It's just a lot cheaper to do it at home, but then, it's a lot more work. All right, guys, I'll let you go. The day started out pretty well. Started pretty well because of this, okay? This gives Powell more ammunition to do the very first cuts in 4 years. But we got more. We got more we got to wait for. PPI inflation is going to come out tomorrow, and other economic data is going to come out, right? We'll see. But generally speaking, lower inflation, okay, rate cuts are good. Very, very good. Microstrategy is also doing good because they're announcing a 10-for-1 split. But, overall, guys, this is what's important, okay? There's not enough Bitcoin to go around. Ultimately, this is the reason why Bitcoin is going to go up. There's not enough to go around, okay? There's no way everyone on the planet can even own one Bitcoin. There's not enough, okay? So stay strong, my friends. I'll see you guys tonight, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Have a good one. Take care. Bye-bye.